sharing with you in this video how to shift and transform into the person you've always wanted to be. Because the truth is that once you realize that you can transform into the person that you want to be, there's not really an opportunity for you to kind of like go back on this information. You can't just go backwards. You can only move forward in life. There's only one direction, and it's to move forward. And transformation is a part of that. I think that we all have this innate capability to transform into the person that we actually want to be. But what happens is that we simply forget. Somewhere along the process of life, maybe life pulls us in some direction. We convince ourselves that something is important, very, very, very important. And then we forget that our natural state of being is to change and to be fluid and to transform into the identity and into the person that you want to be moment to moment. And so let's talk about how to actually do this in this video. So the first thing that I want to share with you in this video is to understand that I do believe transformation is our natural state. Like, it really is our natural state. I think that we're always transforming. Like, even science proves that the cells in your body change every 7 years. So in 7 years from now, 7 years from today, you're going to be an entirely different person. So that just goes to show that what's happening is that you're always changing. But what happens is that sometimes if we're attached to an idea, to an identity, and we're attached to the unconscious conditioning of who we believe we are, and there's no spaciousness between who we actually are and then the beliefs that we hold, what starts to happen is that we forget that we can transform into the person that we want to be, because we just believe that we have to keep recreating ourselves into the same person instead of changing into a different person moment to moment. So what happens is that you're still recreating yourself moment to moment. You're still transforming, but what's happening is that you're transforming yourself into the same person. So then 10 years goes by, 50 years goes by, and you're the same person internally, and externally it appears as so as well. As well, externally it reflects, because the internal, of course, starts to affect the external. That is just how it goes. So understand that, remember, you do have a natural state to transform, to be something different, to be a different person. And it's not something that you need to really force, like all you really need to do in life, I think, is simply know what you want, know what it is that you care about. And then what happens is that transformation, that intelligence within you naturally brings you to where you need to go. It naturally starts to guide you towards the direction that you need to go. And then so once you start to apply this, you're going to start to realize that you can be the person that you want to be. You can transform it. You don't need to be recreating yourself into that same person over and over and over. You can be something different. And now the second thing that I want to share with you in this video, in terms of how to shift and transform into the person you've always wanted to be, and understand that once you learn this, you can't really go back on this information, is to understand that attachment to conditioning stops transformation. Like, that's what stops a transformation. So yes, transformation is in fact our natural state. It is the case. But what is it that stops this from happening? If we could pinpoint something specific, if we could look at that information and look at that situation and say, well, what is it that's stopping that natural transformation? Because if I'm going to make a claim here and say that transformation is our natural state, well, it's okay, well then what's the blockage? What's stopping it from happening naturally? Like, what is going to be the thing stopping it? And what I'm claiming here is that, to be concisely speaking, it's attachment to conditioning. It's the unconscious attachment to conditioning. That's what stops the transformation. So really what that means is that if somebody believes that they are their thoughts and there's no spaciousness between who they are and then the identity that they hold, this is what stops transformation, because there's no spaciousness to even have an openness for any possibility to become something new. Like, if you don't even have an open-mindedness to believe that you can become something new, and you believe that you're limited to the person that you've already been, how is it that you're going to transform? See, this is where another person that perhaps can see a vision, maybe more than you can even see, might be useful, because somebody that sees a vision that you can't see might come into your life and say, hey, I see a vision for you right now that maybe you can't even see, and you can speak on that vision. And I think that's the job of a leader, is to speak upon the vision that they see for an individual, even if that individual can't see it for themselves. I think that's really powerful to do, because what happens is that from that space, now what you're seeing is that your job, so to speak, as a leader is to let people know that they don't need to be attached to the unconscious conditioning. And in fact, that's the wrong way to say it. The better way to say it is that unconscious attachment to thoughts, that is kind of the problem. It's the unconscious attachment to the conditioning, which is the issue. The issue is not necessarily the thoughts or the conditioning in of itself. It's the attachment to it. And that's what the unconsciousness is. Unconsciousness, what that really means is you're attaching to an identity and you don't realize that you're doing this. You're unconsciously attached to a stream of thinking and believing that's just who you are. That's just who I've been the last 20 years, and that's how it's always going to be, and it's never going to change. And in 20 years from now, you best believe I'm still going to be the same. See, that's okay. Like, security is good, consistency is good, but I think that closed-mindedness can become a problem where now if you're too closed-minded, right, if you're too rigid on your identity, you now have no opportunity to transform. So I think, there's a degree of closed-mindedness that's healthy, right? To have a boundary, to say like, you know what, like, I don't need to be so open-minded to transform it, because I'm going to step into what we call the danger zone. If you look at this chart right over here, then that I want to show you, that I think is actually very interesting. If you can see here, what people do is that they believe that they have to step into the danger zone. And I don't think that you have to step into the danger zone. Like, I know that it looks like a funny chart and it might seem interesting, but the truth is that, when I'm talking about transformation, what I'm not inviting you to do is to step into your danger zone. So I just want to make that very clear. I know it seems kind of random that I'm showing you this chart, but I do want to make it very clear that there's no obligation for you in life to step into the danger zone. Like, you don't have to do this. What I invite and encourage you to do is simply to step into a space where you can actually be in your discomfort zone. Not in your safety zone or in your danger zone, but right in the middle where you're in your discomfort zone. And that is the magical space, I think, of possibility, where you're open enough to see a new possibility, but you still have the security and the groundedness of being who you want to be and who you used to be, right? Because too much transformation too quickly can be a problem, right? That can be very scary. But if you're willing to actually do it in a balanced way, where you don't really need to be attached to who you used to be, then what happens is that now you're in a much better position to really transform and really be that person that you actually want to be, because you realize that you're not meant to be comfortable, and you're not meant to be going either too much in your discomfort zone to the point where it's traumatizing to you. You don't need to do this. What the best thing to do is to be right in the middle, and to be in what what some cultures even call the middle way. It's to find that balance of comfort and discomfort, right? Because, when it comes to identity, I'm going to be honest with you, what I've realized is that it's not really about feeling comfortable necessarily or uncomfortable. It has nothing to do with jumping to either polarity. What I find more powerful is to find that balance point between comfort and discomfort, and to just find the isness of the present moment, where now you can be the person that you want to be. Just simply act into the identity that you actually want to be, instead of attaching to the conditioning. You can see the conditioning, see it for what it is, create spaciousness between you and it, choose a new intention, and then act accordingly with it, and not do it where you're going too much in your danger zone, but don't stay comfortable either and then do the same thing that you've been doing for 20 years, right? Do something different that does put you a little bit on edge and challenges you slightly. Now, the third thing that I want to share with you in this video is to understand that, I just want to make it very clear. I want you to understand that you don't have to be the same person. You don't have to be. Like, I want to make that so clear. Wouldn't it be a shame, like, if you reconnect with somebody, maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and then they look at you and they say, like, wow, that person is exactly the same. Like, they've not changed. It's like 20 years went by. And do you want that person to look at you and say, like, wow, so your body looks older, right? You have aged. Your body has got older, but who you are just hasn't changed. Like you just kind of are like the same person. No transformation, no leveling up. You're still doing the same thing, same problems, same challenges. Like no, you don't have any better, higher quality problems, same complaints. Everything is the same. Like, is that the image that you want? For me personally, I don't want that for myself. I want to be continually transforming and be in a transformative state because I do believe that this is our natural state. And what I want you to understand is that I wouldn't want you to be in that position where you meet somebody after 20 years and you're the same person. Wouldn't you want to be different? Like you've leveled up, you have many different problems at higher levels. You still have problems, right? Because unfortunately, it maybe to some degree it's a fortunate thing, but no matter what, we're going to be faced with problems no matter what in the human existence. Pain is going to be happening no matter what. You're going to have problems no matter what, and you're going to have challenges no matter what. See, but 20 years can go by and you can be the same person and still have problems and challenges and pains and traumas, or 20 years can go by and you can still have pain and trauma and issues and challenges and struggles, but you can be leveled up times 10, be an entirely new different person and have many things in your life that are totally different, and you've quite literally leveled up in every single area of your life and you've become a better person. Less guilt, less shame. You've created more of the things that you want. You've achieved more. You feel more emotionally grounded. You feel like you're generating your state more from within. You've let go of negativity and things that aren't serving you. Like you can be a better person. You can actually level up. But the problem is that, if you want this to happen, it requires a certain level of understanding where it's like, you don't need to be that same person. Like there's no need for you to be the same person. I want you just to let go of the burden to believe that it is necessary for you to be the same person that you've been for however long in your life. There's no need for it. It's absolutely okay for you to let go of the old identity and to understand that it's not a necessity, it's a belief. So even the belief system that you have to be who you've been is nothing more than a belief system. It's nothing more than just an idea that can be attached to. There can be an attachment to this idea that we have to be the same person, and I think this can be a blockage to creating what it is that we want. So I want you to confide in this idea that you can be different. You don't have to be the same person, and use that idea of what are the consequences of not changing as a motivating factor for you. I think that a lot of people are scared to look at this, and they're scared to look at that question. It's like, okay, so if I don't change today, what is my life going to look like in 20 years? Nobody really wants to think about that. Like, I know that it's a sensitive topic, and I know that it can be very triggering, and it can bring a lot of emotion up and bring the ego up and bring that defense guard up. I understand that. I do really understand that 100%. But the truth is that I believe that we need to be okay to look at that, because it's like, wouldn't it be good to know like the trajectory that you're headed in based on the current actions that you're taking? Like, wouldn't it be wise to look at your life and say, like, what do I value? It's like, and if you don't know your values, take a look at your actions. Take a look at what you're doing every single day. That's what you value. And ask yourself, if you keep valuing that and you keep acting like that, who are you going to be in 20 years? And are you okay with that result? And that's something that I invite every person to look at and not be afraid, because it's like, that's literally where you're headed. And it's like, I get it. Like I said, I understand. Don't mean to repeat myself that it's a sensitive topic. But at the same time, though, wouldn't it be wise to look at that? Because like, if you don't change, that's who you're going to be. So I really think that the key here is to start to remember that we can change. Transformation is our natural state. Once again, attachment to that conditioning does stop the transformation. And just to keep in mind in the back of your experience that you don't have to be that person. You can give yourself permission to change. It is okay to change. It's okay to let go of the old version of yourself and to actually align with who it is that you